Jimmy Kimmel comes back to television tonight after a very short absence in what is probably going to be one of the most hotly anticipated monologues in late night talk show history. I'm sure it'll be very calm. I'm sure it'll be very measured. It's going to be pretty interesting to see this come back. Disney came out and said that, it's important to keep in mind that when Disney pulled him off the air, they did not say it was permanent. Right? They never said his show was canceled. They said they were pulling it off, whatever. And I think that was probably a good strategy to kind of react quickly, but give themselves some wiggle room to kind of figure out how they're going to manage it and what they're going to actually end up doing. Well, they got a lot of pressure from a lot of different people and a lot of different angles. And now Jimmy Kimmel is coming back after reports, and I can't verify independently that this is true or not, after reports that the Disney Plus cancellation page was literally crashing from the amount of people going to cancel Disney Plus after all that. So he's coming back, and he's coming back tonight. Now, this is a wide-ranging thing because, again, we're talking about late-night entertainment that is specifically coming under direct attack by the government, not by... Listen, I have no problem. There's a reason why 99% of all the talking heads or Fox News are all conservative, because that's what Fox News wants to be. And therefore, if they don't want to have somebody on there, and they have one or two voices, but if they don't want to have people on there that don't represent their point of view and don't represent their image, they have every right to do that. They absolutely do. And if they want to get rid of somebody for whatever reasons, that's them. But we're not talking about Fox News. We're talking about the government. And the government has been making direct attacks on anybody who doesn't like their fearless leader, who has been critical of President Trump, to the point that, we have, what's the name of the company again? Nexstar and Sinclair. Yeah, Nexstar, who is trying to do an acquisition right now that would put them in a position that would directly violate FCC rules of owning too much of the space. There's a rule in the FCC that one company can't own anymore. What's the number there?
39%. And they want to have that rule rescinded.
Yeah, they're not only seeking permission to do something, they're asking the FCC to turn a blind eye to the actual rules. And so it's not a coincidence.
Before the midterms.
Yeah, before the midterms. It's not a coincidence that when the FCC chair came out, Brennan Carr, and said, I don't know, maybe something should be done about these late night guys, or we might have to get busy over here at the FCC. It's not a surprise that then Nexstar said, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Whatever you say, sir, as long as you approve our acquisition and let us break the rules. And they went ahead and they did that. And then Disney, getting their broadcast license threatened, they temporarily pulled Jimmy Kimmel off. Listen, and for any of you who are under the misguided impression that this whole Jimmy Kimmel thing is about anything other than that, guys, they're not even pretending anymore. They're not even hiding it. They're not even trying to act like that's not what's happening now. They're being overt about it. Listen to a couple of these things. So, journalist Brian Stelter, he wrote, I asked a question to the FCC chair, Brennan Carr, if he had any new comment now that ABC had pulled Jimmy Kimmel Show off the air. This is the head of the FCC. This is supposed to be the grown-up in the room. At least pretend like it's about something else. Instead, he posted this. He replied with this. This is clearly, yup, we're getting our way. We're getting our agenda done. That was a Office meme. And I found this out through John Oliver. But an Office meme was his response to it. Like, yep, we're celebrating over here because we're getting our way. They're not even pretending anymore. And then when another person asked him, straight up said, this was all in Project 2025. Project 2025 was, of course, this big, massive document blueprint for establishing an authoritarian dictatorship that Donald Trump swore to God he knew nothing about. Remember that during the elections?
Oh, yeah.
They kept asking him, what about all this nonsense in Project 2025? Oh, no, I don't know anything about Project 25. Oh, yeah, suddenly gets elected and everything in Project 2025 is being implemented. And he starts putting people who are in charge of making Project 2025 in high positions of power. But when this guy wrote to him and said this was all in Project 2025, the head of the FCC literally posted a Jack Nicholson meme doing the big nod. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. Even Donald Trump himself, this is from the BBC. Donald Trump himself isn't even hiding the fact that he has a mandate to eliminate and get rid of anybody that is critical of him. Said this, I have read some places that network, remember, this is the same guy who got on national television and said an immigrant community was stealing and eating people's pets because he read it in a random Facebook post. Even when the local government of that town, even when the local police department of that town corrected him and said there's no truth to that, they kept saying, no, these immigrants are eating people's pets because he read it someplace. Anyway, Donald Trump said, I have read someplace that the networks were 97% against me. Again, 97% negative, and yet I won easily. The president said, they give me only bad publicity and press. I mean, they're getting a license. I would think maybe their licenses should be taken away. They're giving me bad press. I think we should take away their licenses. Guys, they're not even trying to hide it. They're not even trying to pretend anymore. They know they have so many people in their pockets already that it doesn't matter anymore. And now that sort of stuff, and this has been going on in other areas of society and life for a long time, but now it's completely crossing over into entertainment. Now it's affecting everything. So facing a lot of backlash, Disney decided, we're going to put Jimmy back on air, and we're going to put him back on air tonight. I know a lot of people are going to tune in with a lot of interest to see what he's going to say, and also with great interest to see what he's not going to say. Because I have to believe, Rob, that in the agreement for him to get back on the air, I have to believe there was some discussion between the people at Disney and ABC and Jimmy Kimmel of, okay, let's not cross certain lines. Maybe there are things we don't do. Like, I'm sure Jimmy Kimmel wouldn't come back if he wasn't allowed to be critical of the president, but I'll be curious to see what kind of lines he decides not to cross at that point. And then again, President Trump put out on his social media, it's like, now we got to go after they announced that Jimmy Kimmel's off the air. He specifically came out and said, okay, now we got to go after the two remaining guys. We got to go after Jimmy Fallon. And we got to go after, the other guy who used to be on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Seth Meyers.
Seth Meyers. He specifically called them out. It's like, hey, now that we got those two, let's go after these two.
And don't forget the ladies on The View. They're next on the chopping block,
too.
Yeah,
and they've been on his list for a long time. So it's going to be interesting to see how this, as the world of politics, something we try to stay separate from so much on this show, but when politics is just stomping all over entertainment, it kind of becomes something we need to address. So he's coming back tonight. It's going to be interesting to see how he's going to handle it, what he's going to say specifically. Are they going to de-escalate or are they going to escalate? I don't know.
Guys, we want to thank the sponsor of today's episode, PrizePicks. Look, you and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right actually means you win. And with football back, there is no better time to get in on the action. You guys know I've been using PrizePicks for a while now, and it's honestly the most fun I've had engaging with the new football season already. For example, this weekend, I had Josh Allen throwing for more than 270 passing yards, and Baker Mayfield having more than 2.5 passing touchdowns, and boom, I won on both. Building your lineups on PrizePicks is fast, simple, and honestly extremely fun. All you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and if you're right, you win. What's even better is that PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still win even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Plus, they've even got this thing called injury reboots, so if a player goes down in the first half, it won't count against you. And PrizePicks operates in more than 40 states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. So download the app today and use code CAMPEA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CAMPEA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right.
But anyway, Rob, the campaign worked. Jimmy Kimmel is back, at least for now. What are you expecting to see coming out of this tonight?
Well, first of all, I find this whole situation very, very interesting. You know who we haven't heard from during this whole kerfluffle? Is Jimmy Kimmel himself. He was
Yeah.
very careful because there was all kinds of legal ramifications to what they've done, what things that were actionable. I'm sure Disney didn't talk to Jimmy Kimmel at all. They talked to Jimmy Kimmel's lawyers, because I'm sure Jimmy Kimmel lawyered up immediately, because none of this, there was nothing going on that was, a lot of people said, well, Jimmy Kimmel lied about something he said. Even that was questionable. And
okay, let me address that just for a quick second. Did in one thing, did Jimmy Kimmel get a fact wrong? He did. 100% he did. He got a fact wrong.
Was
for
it a
people
lie?
using that as a, it wasn't a lie. He got something wrong. But for people using that as a pretext, I just want to remind everybody that for years, Fox News intentionally, knowingly, and purposefully kept pushing and propping up the stolen election. And it was determined in court that they knew it was a lie, and they kept pushing it for years anyway, and it ended up costing them billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to still
billions of dollars.
Smartmatic still has a suit,
And not only that, Fox
and there's
News,
still that.
so they're still paying.
Fox News isn't
And they're
even
still paying
news.
for it.
They're called an entertainment show now.
Right.
It's not
Now,
really a
and
news
I
show.
want,
But
and that's
what's
Fox that called themselves that. But I want to point out that even though that happened, not once did the government pressure the FCC to take away Fox's broadcast license.
no.
That never came up, despite years and years and years of intentionally and on purpose purporting a falsehood. The government never stepped in and said, let's take away their license. So that's just a pretense here. Donald Trump, the head of the FCC, they're not even hiding it now. They're saying, yeah, we just want these guys gone because we want them gone. Anyway, sorry, Rob, please continue.
Well, then no, but you're absolutely right. They wanted to silence. Now, what's really interesting is Nexstar and Sinclair have said, at least they have as of this morning, that they are not going to put Jimmy Kimmel on their affiliates today. So
Right.
Jimmy Kimmel is there's a significant portion, I think, including in the Seattle area, that we won't be seeing Jimmy Kimmel, or they won't be seeing Jimmy Kimmel. So, I mean, at the end of the day, now you have somebody coming back, whatever. You now have a group of people that are controlling affiliates that are not allowing a voice on those affiliates, which is really, really disconcerting. I don't know what that means in the long run, but now, I mean, are we squelching speech?
Well, here, let me ask you this question, Rob. Do you have, what percentage of doubt do you have in your mind, Rob, that Nexstar is going to get their FCC approval for that acquisition?
After what
Does anybody have any doubts now that
No.
despite the fact that this acquisition clearly violates the FCC rules, does anybody have any doubt that since they're being obedient little lapdogs, that they are absolutely 100% going to get their FCC approval?
After what the Supreme Court said about the FTC yesterday, I'm absolutely positive that Nexstar is going to get exactly what they want, which across the board is not a great precedent, because the whole point was to prevent one voice from dominating the American landscape, literally the American landscape. That's why the 39% rule exists. You take that away and suddenly you only hear one side of a story, and that's never good for a democracy or our great republic.
Yeah, and listen, let me be clear about something. I'm not a big Jimmy Kimmel fan. I don't mind Jimmy Kimmel. I find some of his stuff funny, some of his stuff not funny. I'm not exactly the world's biggest Jimmy Kimmel fan. Listen, if Disney in a vacuum had come out and said, hey, you know what? Jimmy Kimmel's had a great run, but we're going to go in a different direction now. If that was done in a vacuum, I wouldn't have even batted an eye. And a lot of people have thrown at me this idea, well, John, where was your outrage when Gina Carano and blah, blah. Guys, I just said, I don't mind if Fox wants to hire or fire people who they don't feel properly represents their identity. Clearly they do that because 99% of the heads on there are absolutely conservative, and that's fine. They have every right to do that. I've also always believed that Disney has the right. If somebody who's representing them represents something that is completely opposite of what their identity is and what their principles are and what their mandate is, I have no problem they do that. But it's different when it's the government. The First Amendment is about the government. It's not about what individuals do or what companies do or corporations. It's about protecting their free speech from censorship from the government. And that's why there is what's the big Republican congressman? He's from Texas.
It was Ted Cruz, Senator.
Ted Cruz, the maggiest of the MAGA guys. Ted Cruz said on an interview yesterday, listen, I don't like Jimmy Kimmel. He was honest. He said, I don't like Jimmy Kimmel, and I'm glad that he's gone. This was obviously before they announced that he was going to be back on. He said, I don't like Jimmy Kimmel, and I'm glad he's gone. He said, but for government to start stepping in and telling broadcasters and entertainers and going after them for having critical views of us, he said, that's scary, and that's not going to be good for us conservatives if we do that. Even Ted Cruz came out and said that. So again, I just think it's going to be really interesting to see how all this kind of goes around and how much further, because this particular administration wants to go after everybody in entertainment who's been critical of the president. And it's going to be interesting to see where our other conservatives going to step in, like Ted Cruz and hopefully others, or are other conservatives going to step in and be the voice of reason and draw a line in the sand? Are the courts going to step in and do their jobs to uphold the Constitution? I don't know. It's going to be really interesting. This is far more political than I'm very comfortable getting, but it is in the world of entertainment.
But it is a legitimate entertainment news story. I mean, it is.
Well,
so.
if they start pulling licenses, then it's not shows; it's entire slates of shows that we all watch.
And you're talking about, you're looking at affiliates, and it'll be interesting. They pull the license from one affiliate. Will another affiliate come online? Can they move? Can ABC move to different affiliates? I mean, all of this is very, very interesting, and it's all something that we should be watching closely.
Yeah, somebody in the live chat is saying, I'm sorry, this is a political commentary show. When you talk politics, you alienate half your audience. I don't care. Please
but we're
stop.
not.
I love your show.
We're not alienating half our audience because Republicans are coming out, like we just stated, and said this is a First Amendment thing, and they don't like Jimmy Kimmel, but they're like, yeah, but Trump shouldn't be threatening broadcast. And it isn't just politics. Like I was saying, if ABC goes down, well, that's a whole lot of entertainment jobs in the can. This affects everything.
Yeah, right. This is an entertainment issue. And by the way, I have just been showing you the words that Donald Trump said. I'm showing you the words that Ted Cruz said. I'm showing you the words the chair of the FCC said. If you have a problem with that, you take it up with them. I'm just showing you what they did and they said. And it is directly impacting the world of entertainment. And I don't like talking about it, to be honest with you. And if me just telling you and showing you and re-bringing up what they said, if that alienates you, then you're not the type of person I want watching my show anyway, to be honest with you. You can be supportive of them and be okay that I'm expressing a different point of view. That's great. I love it. But if you say that alienates you, then, bye. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Jimmy Kimmel returns to the air tonight, and I'm thinking it's going to be one of the most watched, whether it's on YouTube or whatever. I'm thinking it's going to be one of the most watched monologues, and I'm very curious. How do you think that monologue is going to go? Do you think he's going to go right at it? Do you think he's going to be more tempered and try to de-escalate things? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.